Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of brutal Russian invasion to keep you updated on what is life in Ukraine during these challenging times, and I believe together we will witness Ukrainian victory. If you support Ukraine, please subscribe. That is the easiest way to demonstrate your solidarity and to spread more information about Russian war crimes in my country and the efforts we all make to succeed. And today I want to record this video about good news from my Ukrainian perspective, and these are attacks of Ukrainian drones on Moscow. Well, we are never 100% sure if these are Ukrainian drones that caused some troubles in the capital of Orkland, but it might be also Russian partisan movements. But anyway, it is closely connected to Russian crimes in Ukraine. So what happened this night? A number of drones flew to the capital of very well protected Russia and exploded there, causing some destructions in Moscow City district, which is a district, a business district and expensive residential area. Honestly, I do not understand why Russians living in such poverty and being governed by oligarchs like Putin and other criminals do not do similar things by themselves. Because actually this gap between the level of life in Moscow, St. Petersburg and ordinary Russian cities, and I'm not even saying villages, tremendous. This Russia traditionally, since the Soviet times, hates the idea of middle class, contrary to Ukraine, which is actually based and built on this active civil society and middle class. Why? Because these are people who live normal life, who start asking questions, who start challenging politicians, who address them as you do, who ask them uncomfortable questions, and that's what authoritarian regimes hate. And typically you will see like hungry, miserable people who loot when they come to Ukraine, who are surprised how Ukrainians live, even though we are not just like living a fantastic life, but just like normal life. And oligarchs and those who like I don't know, 20 people can own the majority of Russian natural resources, and it's totally unjust, and any like thinking society would never accept that. So honestly, I don't know why Russians do not attack Kremlin and do not attack the oligarch criminal government by themselves and districts like that. Anyway, no casualties because the attack took place at 3 a.m. or something like that, and these are business buildings. So once again, Ukrainians are not orcs. By the way, remember that daily Russians kill many Ukrainians, and many of them are civilians and even children. For example, after the attack on Sumy yesterday, 2 people died. So don't worry about Russian civilians. This caused panic in Moscow. There are lots of reports on their social media, of course, less in official media because they want to be invincible and to pretend that they are really strong. But come on, if you have Ukrainian drones flying in the capital of Russia, you cannot say that you are well protected, because it's just not even the border with Ukraine, it's the heart of that mother Russia. So we have to realize that all of the pathos they were spreading about their strong army, strong defense, strong intelligence services is actually fake. Same as like Putin being super strong. Look at him. Let's be real, okay? A Botox guy hiding in a bunker, afraid of everything, cannot be a strong leader. He can be crazy, but he cannot be strong. And let's see the difference between strong and crazy very vividly. So I'm always glad when I read about explosions in Moscow. It was not like that a year and a half before, because for me, Moscow did not exist. I did not follow news there. Like, of course, I read about the aggression they expressed to Ukraine, but I never cared about like them at all. But today, after they started this war, they wanted it to be occupation. They did not want us to react. But it turned out we're strong, we're freedom lovers. When stealing our history, don't forget to read our history, because it can give you a lot of hints. And hint number 1, we never give up. And we're not slaves by nature, contrary to the majority of Russian population. I'm sorry, but that's true. They enjoy strong hands, authoritarian regimes, and they produce them every like 50 years or something. In Ukraine, we always oppose. We always want to control our government. We like freedom of people is very important here. So if they were more attentive on reading and understanding our history, they wouldn't have attacked. And honestly, I think that you can only understand what war is when you go through it. So far, for Russian population that so strongly supports Putin and supports war in Ukraine, they know nothing about war. But it always, like history demonstrates us that it always comes to the territory of the aggressor. Look at like Hitler. At the beginning of the Second World War, he did not believe something can happen to him, to Germany, but it was soon liberated from Nazis. The same might happen with Russia. The problem is that Russia is really huge, and people like being in this authoritarian lifestyle for almost 100 years already, which makes it more tragic, because typically these authoritarian regimes, they exist like 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, and in Russia it's like the majority of their history. So honestly, when I think what can we do to Russia in future, I don't have these answers, and that's why I start a new project where I will ask people these questions too. So be sure to check my new interview, and I guess it will be today. Also, if you agree with me that Russia must feel what war is and you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and share the videos that you consider informative and important, because this helps to attract attention to Ukraine, and that's not difficult, but that's a true help to us. So, explosions were in a business center on the 5th floor of a 50-story building. There was smoke, there are lots of records on social media and lots of panic in Russia, because people realize if they are flying close to government, close to Kremlin, they are not protected. And perhaps Russian government says, bullshit, I'm sorry, when it persuades the population that everything is under control. No, if you have drones exploding close to your ministries or in your ministries, on the buildings of your ministries, no, it's not going to be okay. Moreover, they reacted, and for a certain period of time, Moscow was no-flight zone. The airports were not working. Voila. Also, an army of drones flew to Crimea and did some important tasks on the military bases. Actually, Russia turned beautiful resort into a military base. So we are kind of ruining the military bases that supply their troops that are temporarily on the territory of Ukraine. And to sum it all up, what made me really laugh is the address of Putin, where he said that he cannot negotiate and follow the advice of African peace plan, that because Ukrainians are in the offensive phase, so he cannot stop shooting because Ukrainians are leading their offensive operation. And just like a small asterisk, you know, like Ukrainians are leading this offensive operation in Ukraine, on their own territory, liberating their own territory from miserable orcs. By the way, orcs are less and less motivated. All these like best Russian Nazis are already in Ukrainian ground, or unfortunately they don't take their soldiers, and in hot zones it's really difficult to clean everything. I'm not talking about that, but I have read so much information about what's happening in Bakhmut, and this is an ecocide, because Wagner Group was not caring about people. They were sending them and they were dying like hundreds a day. And this zone is really hot, and Russians never pick up, like in the majority of cases, they never gather the bodies of their soldiers, because they treat them worse than dogs. They don't treat them as people. That's why they don't care about. If they don't care about their lives, they don't care about their corpses. And like there are thousands of them. And you can realize, like, some Ukrainian soldiers say it's unbearable to stand near Bakhmut. So there are lots of ugly things that Russia brings to this world, together with its dead soldiers. I'm sorry. And but We have a very good Ministry of Digital Transformation, and they are responsible for the Ukrainian army of drones. There is such a thing. They collect money, they encourage things, and you see that the army of drones are not big. They cannot cause serious harm. We understand that. But they send very powerful messages. Plus, guys, we are following the rules and we don't use the weapons that you provide us with on Russian territory. I don't think it's just because Russia attacked Ukraine and it's okay to target military objects on the territory of your enemy, but everybody is afraid of escalation, forgetting that it is Russia that escalates. But we follow the rules because we always respect people who help us, and we are very grateful for that. So once again, it's good that Moscow understands that it's vulnerable. And when they started this war and believed that blitzkrieg is possible, no one in the world, no one in the countries that are now our allies believed that Ukrainians will blow up buildings in the center of Moscow sometime later. So this is also a part of our counteroffensive. Thank you so much for your support. Buying me coffees, becoming my patrons. Please subscribe, because like 50% of people who watch my videos are not yet subscribed, and that's a whole army of Ukrainian supporters. Subscribe to my Twitter, Instagram, Discord. The links are below this video. Introduce yourself to our merch, but also let me know what you think about my today's interview. Thank you so much for being with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!